Yo, what's up, guys? It's about Milady. Here we got, let me explain, studios. My grievances with medieval times. Gonna get to it. Hope you guys enjoyed. And let's go.
Hear ye, presenting her most royal majesty. First of her name, ruler of the hidden forest, witch of the woods, girlfriend fairy, and, macaroni Monday enthusiast, Queen Rebecca!
Queen Rebecca.
Well, what did you expect? You all kept calling me Queen on my social media.
Queen Rebecca.
It was only a matter of time before my ego became overblown and I tried on the crown for size. You only have yourselves to blame, darlings. By royal decree, all subjects must plant their posteriors and listen to their queen's mad ravings. Failure to do so shall be punished with beheading of all your trading cards.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Sorry, just had to change into something easier to draw. You know, there aren't many chances these days to gain the title of queen. It used to be a much more common thing. Everyone had a queen. They had a queen, and they had a queen. But I don't got any
Queen Elizabeth?
So go fish.
Or Queen Elizabeth
if I truly wanted
II?
to become a queen, there is one place I could rule a kingdom.
Ooh. Medieval times.
If you haven't had the privilege of attending one of these magnificently cheesy dinner shows, I highly recommend. Best way I can describe it is, it's like professional wrestling, except with swords and horses. You cheer on your favorite stunt performer competing in a fake competition with scripted trauma and a predetermined winner. Just like professional wrestling. In case you're unfamiliar, here's how the whole show works.
Yes, sir.
Basically, there are 6 knights all competing in the Queen's tournament to be her champion. As a paying guest, you are randomly assigned to one of these knights because choice is an illusion. You sit in your knight section, you wear the paper crowns, and you cheer on your guy for the whole night. You also eat your food with no utensils because they didn't have silverware in ye olden days. Darling, could you use your filthy hands to pass me the plague? There's some dancing horses, a falcon comes out and flies around, but let's not be coy. We all know why we're really here. Bloodshed! First, the knights compete in some games. Look at them go. Then they fake joust each other, do this perfectly believable fall off their horses, and then they fight with pointy objects. Last night standing wins, and everyone lives happily ever after, except the green one, but we'll get to him in a second. So yeah, great evening. You suspend your disbelief, pretend you're 10 years old, and embrace your inner Ren Fair nerd for a night. And wow, they are having some fun with the fight choreography these days. Look at the Red Knight throwing his shield like Captain America here. Now, when I was writing the script for this video, it looked entirely different. I had this whole running gag about how I was gonna usurp the throne of the Buena Park, California medieval times and tell some childhood stories, yada yada. But the more I wrote, the more I realized that I have some grievances with this place that can be overlooked no more. Though don't worry, I'm not gonna sit here and complain for 7 minutes straight about how this show is about as historically accurate as a Disney movie. We're advanced these days. We don't turn to cheap tourist amusements for our misinformation. We have TikTok for that. Bear in mind, this is all in good nature, just some friendly suggestions. Feel free to give me free tickets, medieval times. First and foremost, what the hell is up with the Torture Museum? I mean, I didn't go in there this last trip, so I'm borrowing footage, linked to the channel below, but I have a very clear memory of this Torture Museum from when I was a kid. And I can't be too sure, but I think it unlocked something dark within me. Well, I'm gonna have a goth phase. Overall, medieval times is generally family friendly, but just $2 extra gets you into this museum full of devices, illustrations, and descriptions of torture that I have to blur or I will 100% be demonetized. It just feels like a tone problem. You got some tonal dissonance going on at your family-friendly establishment. It would be like having a beautiful, wholesome day riding rides at Disneyland, and then when you get on Haunted Mansion, an actor with a chainsaw jumps out and starts pelting everybody with body parts. Trauma for the whole family. Another thing that bothered me about these shows, even as a kid, one of the knights ends up being the bad guy. And unless he's scheduled to win that particular show, it's always the Green Knight. Because as Disney has taught us, green is a villain color. Look at this, you also know he's evil because he's wearing antlers on his helmet. Horned villains, those are OUT out so last season. But villains with antlers? Those are all the rage these days.
Villains with
when
antlers.
I was a kid, I always felt really bad for the people sitting in the
Some
Green Knight
deer?
section. Like, what about those kids wanting to have a good time? They don't want to cheer for the villain. You force them to be in the section that loses the hardest. It's really no fun being forced to cheer for the guy giving the giant misogynistic monologue in the middle of the show. You know what it's like? It's like playing a story-driven video game and suddenly there's a cutscene where your character does something really stupid in the plot and you're just left there holding your controller going, "Hey, what the hell? I didn't tell you to cheat on your wife." It's a total bummer and can ruin a kid's experience. Now, I may be misremembering this entirely, but I swear there were 1 or 2 shows I went to growing up where the plot was different. The bad guy was the Black Knight. In fact, he was the reason they were even having the tournament in the first place, to figure out who was gonna face him when he finally arrived. And call me crazy, but is that not a simpler, more effective
Black Knight
plotline
is
than
crazy.
the Green Knight suddenly becoming a jerk out of nowhere and there's a bunch of dialogue about it that no one can hear because the crowd is too loud and the lav mics are crappy? And it just feels like the stakes are higher, you know? There's an impending threat coming our way.
So funny,
I don't
dude.
care if it ends up being my knight, I'm gonna root for whoever can take down the freaking Night King. That makes the ending of the show that much more satisfying when the whole audience
Yes,
can
sir.
rally
Yes,
together in
sir.
support of their triumphant
Yes, sir.
knight.
The Night King.
Instead of one section just feeling really awkward and dissatisfied. Listen, medieval times, story is my thing and I'm a theater kid to boot. You want a good narrative? You want to put on a good show? You give me a call. We'll negotiate over some mead. Now this next story isn't so much of a grievance, but it is the reason that this video was written in the first place, so I guess I gotta tell it. Back in my college days, my mom, my brother, and my brother's best friend Brooks were all road tripping me back to animation school in Florida. We stopped in Orlando for the night and needed
Animation
something to do,
school,
so
what?
we decided to go to medieval times. And Mom really treated us that night because she bought the VIP package and got us front row seats. Now, something I didn't previously mention about this show is that whenever a knight wins one of the games he's competing in, he gets to take a bunch of flowers back to his section and throw them at all the lovely maidens. And you know, it's kind of fun to get one. This is so validating! So, you know, maybe I wanted one. Very badly. And I was sitting in the front row too,
Very badly.
so a little hard to ignore all this happening just a few feet in front of you. But the first time our
Very
knight rode
badly.
by with flowers, he just completely ignored me. He wouldn't even look at me. Okay, no big deal. He'll see me next time. Second time he came back
He'll
with
see you
flowers,
next
I
time.
stood and waved and screamed, yet he still would not even look at me. Excuse me, man pretending to be knight, maiden in need of flower, right in front of you. By the third time this guy returned with flowers and completely
Man
ignored me,
pretending to be-
your lady
to be
was getting
knight.
rather
Of-
peeved. So as he was riding by, I stood up and screamed, "You suck!" Well, can you blame me? I was vexed. I mean, really, the audacity. However, unknowing to me, I was about to be served some humble pie for dessert. Because about 10 minutes
pie
after
for
I had
dessert?
insulted this
Really?
man's integrity, our knight returned to our section with a long lance and something tied to the end of it. He rode up directly in front of me and swiftly pointed the lance right in my face. Hey, listen, man.
Ooh. Uh-oh, something's gonna go crazy up here. I already know. I can feel it.
And I know things
I
got
can
heated
feel
back
it.
there, but I'm pretty sure impaling a paying customer will get you written up. Oh,
What is it? Queen of Love and Beauty.
sorry! Yeah, so I guess this show ain't half bad. I might just be
It's
in a
not
tad
half
bit of a gripey mood
bad,
because of this
but-
last trip. You see, when I went to get all this footage, I paid for the VIP package so I could sit in the first row. Was hoping to get a flower, or better yet, that
First row
nifty banner
seats?
again.
Wow.
Because it would have been great content. But as you can see, I wasn't in the first row. My friend and I got to our assigned seats, which were clearly in the second
was at the
row, and
first
we were
row?
a bit confused. We called our waiter over and said, "Hey, we paid for the VIP package. We're supposed to be in the first row." And this guy had the audacity to say, "Oh, this is the first row." No, good sir, this is not the first row. I know that because I can count. Can you? Apparently,
No, you
my
can't.
dumb butt just didn't read the fine print on the VIP package. Turns
Fine
out part of the
print.
second row is considered VIP as well. Not entirely sure why that particular waiter didn't just tell me that instead of trying to gaslight me. But you know, medieval times, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones here. From what I can tell, you could use some fresh blood in your royalty. So,
Oh,
crown me
thank you,
queen of
thank you,
medieval
thank you.
times, and I shall lead you to honor and glory. Simple as that. Let me know when my coronation
Thank you,
is. Make sure you have
Queen,
room for all my 4 million plus ones in the front row.
Thank you, Queen Rebecca. I say it's very good. I say it's very good. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen Rebecca. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. This was very interesting to watch. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it a buck. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and until next time, stop from sign off.